How's it going everyone, Shifty here and I'm back with another Destiny 2 video. Despite the delay, Beyond Light is on the horizon and before you know it we'll be landing on Europa and getting our first taste of the powers of darkness. How can you use the extra time to make sure that you are ready for Beyond Light? Well, I'm going to help you do that in today's video. Also, don't stress too much, each person has their own levels of prep and if you don't want to do any of this, then don't. I'd rather you rest up before Beyond Light than burn out if this isn't something you want to do. This video is all about Beyond Light prep and we are going to be using a handy little website created to help make this process easier. Now you can use other methods to track all of this and I understand if you don't want to use the website, but it makes things a lot easier. Before I get into the video, if you end up enjoying the video or finding it useful, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter, the link will be in the description down below. Alright, the website we are going to use to keep track of our Beyond Light prep is destinyrecipes.com/checklist. To access this site for your account, you need to log in using your primary account. For example, I'm using an Xbox account that I cross-saved to PC, so I need to log in with my Xbox account even though I play on PC. Once in, you'll notice in the top left corner there is a prep score. This is an overall score based on a couple of different areas. First is materials, which are planetary materials like Dusklight shards. Then you have resources, which include Vanguard and Crucible tokens, legendary shards, and upgrade materials. Next is stored XP, and these are bounties that you complete but don't turn in. You save them for the release of Beyond Light, then turn them in. Then there is Glimmer, and this may be confusing to some, but you can actually store more than 250,000 Glimmer, and we'll get to that in a bit. The final category up in the top left is mods, and this relates to the Hive, Taken, and Fallen mods that you can get from various raids and activities. Let's go into a bit more detail regarding the resources. As you'll see here, the materials listed are only those of the planets that aren't entering the DCV, and there are two thresholds, one at 2,000 and one at 4,000. 2,000 is the recommended amount of each material, while 4,000 is likely enough to prepare you for anything. If you've been playing Destiny 2 for quite some time, you should have enough legendary shards to purchase each of these materials from Spider as he sells them. This website keeps track of that for you. As you can see here with a microphasic data lattice, it shows Glimmer and then Spider's symbol, which means he is selling them today for Glimmer. Then for helium filaments, you see the legendary shard symbol next to Spider's symbol, which indicates he's selling helium filaments for legendary shards today. Just check back each day to see which ones he is selling for legendary shards and make sure to stock up. If you don't have a ton of legendary shards or you're fairly new to the game, I would recommend getting at least 100 of each of these materials, so it shouldn't take too many legendary shards to achieve that. Alternatively, you can farm these materials via their respective destinations by picking up the materials themselves on the planets, opening chests, or other similar activities. Next, we'll talk about resources. Vanguard and Crucible tokens are pretty straightforward. To acquire those, you need to complete the respective activities and do their bounties. If you dread doing either of those activities, I wouldn't worry too much about the tokens unless you want to do some leveling before the soft cap. Legendary shards come by dismantling any legendary items, so pick your favorite method to acquire legendaries and get to dismantling if you want to boost your legendary shard count. Upgrade modules can be bought from the gunsmith for enhancement cores and materials if you want, or they are awarded for completing his weekly bounties. You can only hold 25 upgrade modules at a time. Next we have Ascendant shards, and the best way to get these is to farm the Grandmaster Nightfall. If that isn't an option for you, then they have a chance to drop from the Master Nightfall. Again, if that's not an option, then you can farm enhancement prisms via the lower level Nightfalls and purchase Ascendant shards from the gunsmith, although they will cost a hefty amount of Glimmer. For enhancement prisms, I mentioned you can farm these in lower level Nightfalls, or you can acquire these via Master Nightfalls as well. They can also be purchased from the gunsmith for enhancement cores, but again this is going to be a Glimmer sink. Next, enhancement cores come from a variety of sources. They can come from the legendary gear that you acquire if its energy level is high enough. They come from using finest matter weaves and defeating powerful enemies. You can also get them by completing daily bounties for the gunsmith or by completing certain spider bounties. One thing I highly recommend doing is running the Pit of Heresy each week if you can. This will net you a fully masterworked armor piece, and if you don't need it, you can dismantle it for 6 enhancement cores and 6 enhancement prisms. If you do this on as many characters as you can for as many weeks as you can before Beyond Light, then you should acquire quite a few of both of the resources. I have a full video on methods to acquire enhancement cores, and I'll link that in the description down below. The next category is stored XP, and you'll see a bar here that projects how much XP you have stored here. The idea is to grab as many high XP bounties as possible and complete them, but don't turn them in until after Beyond Light, preferably after you get the seasonal artifact. If you click the Show Bounties tab, you'll see bounties here listed and their XP values. Most of the high XP bounties are weekly, so you'll want to grab those each week until Beyond Light and complete them to ensure you get the most XP. Since Iron Banner is going on this week, I highly recommend grabbing those, completing them, and holding on to them if you don't need the gear or tokens. I should warn you that we don't know if there will be any sort of bounty restructuring, so some or all of these bounties could disappear with the release of Beyond Light. Hopefully we will know closer to the release if we should turn them in now, or if they're safe to hold on to. The next category is Stored Glimmer. This site tracks how much glimmer you have directly, but also how much you have stored in terms of certain exotic vehicles and ghosts. Over the course of the next several weeks, when you have max glimmer, buy several of these items out of your collection and then store them in your vault. Then, your glimmer should naturally replenish over time as you do different activities. Then when you need glimmer in Beyond Light, you can just dismantle those items to get a hefty amount of glimmer back. Lastly, we have the mod sets from the Menagerie and Crown of Sorrow, The Last Wish, and Scourge of the Past. You gain score here based upon a couple of things, whether or not you have mods and if you have gear pieces to equip those mods. First, the Fallen mods come from the secret chest in the Sparrow Racing section in the Scourge of the Past raid, and these can be put on any Last Wish or Scourge of the Past armor. I mentioned those two armor sets because they will be good for a few seasons yet. As you'll notice, I'm a bit slacking on these mods. I should probably get on that soon. Next, the Hive mods can be acquired either via the Crown of Sorrow raid, the bonus rewards from the normal Menagerie, or one is guaranteed for your first completion of the Heroic Menagerie each week. These mods can be slotted into Crown of Sorrow armor or Garden of Salvation armor, both of which will be good for a few seasons as well. Lastly, the Taken mods can be acquired from secret chests in the Last Wish raid. 2 of those chests can be acquired solo on each character each week. These chests can also drop Last Wish armor and weapons. In order for hunters to get one of the chests, however, you'll need a friend's help. I'll put a link to a video showing you how to get these chests solo in the description down below. These mods can also be slotted in Last Wish or Scourge of the Past armor. Alright, so that's really it. If you want to prep, this website makes a great tool to keep track of what you have completed and what you still need to do. Don't feel pressured to do anything you don't want to do, it's all personal choice. As I said, don't burn yourself out. Remember, if you end up enjoying the video or finding it useful, make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I just want to thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.